You all knew it was only a matter of time before we eventually had another Scourge in NemeSeptember, right? And that is, well, maybe not exactly what we have here, but close to what we have here, because today we're actually looking at Takara's LG-EX Black Convoy. So technically maybe not Scourge, but it's definitely Scourge. And this is a repaint of Titan's Return Octane, which was just the copyright shenanigans they had to pull to get Octane into it. So here's Octane, or rather Black Convoy. I'm just going to call them or Scourge, but yeah, this is a very nice figure. First of all, you can see we've got the weapons stored on him. There's the translucent pink sword, which just pegs into the side. I wish it did more like Scourge style storage where it could like peg into the underside, but it doesn't really seem to be able to do that, so it is what it is. But the sword is nicely molded. I like this kind of divot in the part of the blade there. It looks cool. It's a neat looking sword. And then you also have the big old cannon with the Titanmaster in it. And that also just kind of awkwardly pegs onto the side. And just, that is a gun. I forget which Titanmaster gun it is, but it is a gun. And the Titanmaster sits in it, and it sure does sit in it. It does peg in. Yeah, I didn't have pegged in before, but yeah. It's I'm not the biggest fan of this particular thing that they did with Titan's Return, but it's not the worst thing. I'm just not a big fan of it. But there you go, two-barreled, looks okay. It's very vaguely reminiscent of his original gun because double-barreled, but that's about as much as it's got going for it. Now, the little Titanmaster, I do not remember his name. Molded pretty well, as they always are. Face, from here at least, looks kind of nondescript. I'm not, like, super excited about it, but it's the Titanmaster. I don't think you got to be excited about it. And articulation for this is, as you expect Titanmasters, you can look left and right and kind of wiggle the head around a bit. The arms are ball joints, but they really only allow you to rotate and come out slightly. That's about all you can do there. And then the hips, you can move the legs forward. You can bend the knees, but like the legs are all together, so you don't really get much in the way of any actual posability with this guy. It's mostly just sit or stand, and either one is usually in service of the vehicle modes and accessory play patterns. So there are some pegs, some little pegs along the top here. There's some here and here and here and here. And you can peg him using those little peg holes into any one of those pegs, and you just kind of ride on top of the truck. Or you can open up this little thing here, and there's a little pseudo cockpit section for him. So just bring the arms forward, bring the legs forward, and tuck them in there. And I don't want to attempt to peg the legs in because I don't want to make it like a pain in the butt to get him out, but you can sit in there and close this, and now he's inside the truck, being inside the truck. We're going to get him out of there and just put him off to the side because he will be important later. And I'm trying to think if he actually sits in a different place for the other mode. Well, probably not. We'll just leave him off to the side though. So yeah, as I said before, this is actually a really nice figure. The paint job on this is pretty cool. This section is a little bit fiddly, at least on mine, but like I like that they did the tank, the oil fuel tank trailer all in silver. You got silver all along the rims. This really bright hot pink for the windows looks fantastic on the black, and then that metallic blue, which is very Scourge. It's like almost pinstriping around the cab section. It's a pretty simple color scheme, but it's really effective because it's mostly black and dark gray plastic with like some hot pink here and there and a lot of silver, and it looks really good. And on the underside, you get a lot of robot junk, which will come into play later. But yeah, what's funny is I remember thinking this was decent as Octane, however you want to say it, but like as a Titan's Return style Scourge. This is a really cool figure. So, he is basically a Titan's Return Voyager, but he's also a truck hauling a trailer. So, like, size-wise, it's a bit wonky because he's not so much big as he is just kind of narrow and lengthy. So, bring in our regular size comparisons. You can see that he is just kind of oddly sized with in comparison to the usual suspects. And bring in Burnout, of course. So here he is with a more modern deluxe. And, you know, old school Voyager, modern deluxe, yes, size difference abounds. And because we're talking about Scourge, we're switching to Legacy Scourge for the other size comparison. Siege Nemesis is kind of off to the side. We'll get back to him in another video. But yeah, here's Leader Scourge. Of course, this is basically like a Voyager figure that comes with a trailer. The trailer is part of the figure. So two totally different approaches. I honestly like this rather than having a trailer that goes off to the side, but that's just me. I'm weird like that. And finally, here he is with the duck tank. All right, I almost started transforming a bunch of stuff off camera, and then I remembered, oh yeah, jet mode. So we are going to turn this into a jet. But before we do, if you like this video or any other videos that I've done or want to support NemeSeptember, and you are willing to pay money for that, I have a Coffee and a LinkedIn, or, well, I do have a LinkedIn, but Coffee or Patreon. Links to both at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe would also be appreciated. Now, to transform this thing into a plane, I'm hoping I don't screw this up because it has been a minute. But to start, I'm going to untab these middle sections of the trailer. They kind of hook in right here, but they also tab together right here. So bring these out like so, then split what will obviously be the legs. These are obviously the wings. These will come up and untab from each other. They do actually tab together, but those come up and swing up. And I believe for the plane, we want to angle these back like this. And they will kind of, well, for now we'll leave them up, but I believe you do want to rotate these back. Now, I'm going to take these wheel sections here. These rotate 180 degrees. Show it from here. Let's rotate 180 degrees so the wheels are now on the inside. Take this kibble chunk here, rotate it out about 90 degrees, and then spin it and bring it down the rest of the way. And it kind of, you want to rotate this piece that is obviously the cockpit section of the plane, so that there's this little bit sticking out here. You want to make sure that this lines up with that. So I'm going to show zoomed in here. When you bring this out, you want to rotate it so that it all kind of clears there. But then when you bring it around here, you still want to kind of bring it out a bit so that you can get that piece right there lined up. Just something to be mindful of. Now, with all of this straightened out, we can bring this back together and peg it together. The oil tanker section will peg together, and then the cockpit section of the plane will also peg together. And these will come in and go back to where they were for the truck mode. Like so. Like so. And now we'll keep these up because I'm still not 100% sure on the plane. I feel like it would make more sense for them to be like this, but then the wings would be backwards. So yeah, but we're just going to leave it like this for now because we want to take the truck and split it in half, and this will now swing around and this little silver tab will tab into the side of the truck cab. And that just kind of sits. And same deal here, bring it around, tab it in. This came untabbed down here. Pardon me while I adjust this. There we go. This swings in, pegs in. Now the wings come down, and I believe these are supposed to tab in up here. No, that doesn't sit right. Okay. So this is wrong. Need to figure out how to orient this. So swing this forward to actually show what I'm doing here. So you actually do want to bring these wings more forward. So I want to rotate this around and then rotate this and then bring this down, and that will allow you to bring the wings down in a more normal for the plane mode looking orientation. There's even like there's a little tab here that I believe, yeah, there's like a slot on the underside of the wing that will tab into that. So you want to bring that down and peg it in, and then bring that down. So once more, I'm going to bring this up, rotate this around, and then rotate this around, and then bring this armature down and tab that wing into the side of tanker. That will give you slightly more normally placed wings. And the tail section holds up and then slides forward. Does slide. Come on. Slide down. I know this slides. That's how it's supposed to work. So why won't you work? There we go. Slide it forward, and that will peg into the back of the plane. And you can bring down the tail fins, and then this little flap here just holds up against the back. There we go. And that gives us the plane mode. And the plane mode is not as successful as the truck, but I still like it. It's silly, yes, but I like it. I like the, having that black cockpit with the pink windows and the striping going along the side. It still evokes Scourge's truck mode, but as a plane. And I just think that's cool. The dark gray does kind of stand out because it's just the tail and the wings, but for what it is, I think it works fine. It does an okay-ish job of hiding some of the truck. This is still the same exact storage for the Titanmaster here, except instead of facing this way, like it was for the truck, now you bring him in facing this way for the jet mode, and you can close it up, and he's in there, and I guess flying the jet. I don't know. For the weapons, they can peg into the sides here. You can, if you wanted to, you could like peg this up here, which is not necessarily more or less awkward than pegging it on the side. But yeah, unfortunately the weapons storage isn't great, but yes, it's fine. And for size comparisons, I'm just going to do vehicle size comparisons because it's not really any different when you... oh wow, it still rolls. I never knew that. That's actually really cool. Because the wheels are now like tucked into the center and down here, but they're still taking up like the same amount of space. They're still sticking down as far as they do, so like it still rolls in jet mode. That's really cool. Okay. Anyway, vehicle mode comparisons. Here is Burnout. So yeah, much bigger than Burnout. Again, I feel like this is roughly the same size as the truck. It just kind of bulks out a little bit more up here, but then thins out up here, but then it like stretches out a little bit because of the nose and the tail. But yeah, just with Scourge's truck mode. And then finally, here's the jet with the duct tank. All right, robot mode transformation time. And this should be less awkward than the plane because I've had to go to truck mode from robot mode in order to do this video. So first we're going to remove the little Titanmaster guy, put him off to the side, close this back up. I'm going to fold this back up. I'm going to untab the wings, bring them up, going to keep these sections tabbed in, but we're going to untab these parts, these like nose of the truck sections from this angle. So untap those. Then these can rotate and flip out the fists. The tolerances on this are a little bit loose in a couple of places because I bought this figure used, but I can tighten those up myself later. It's fine. But there we go. Now, to properly do this, because Scourge, you want to take the windshield sections of the truck and rotate them up on these extra joints. And then with them rotated up, they can then rotate 180 degrees to give him the proper Scourge shoulders. And because this is we'll deal with that later. So just keep those in place. This does not want to stay tabbed in to the side there. That's another thing I can deal with later. All right, now I'm going to unpeg these fuel tank sections again and bring them out to the side. I'm going to split the legs and then once again rotate this around, bring it in, and just kind of do it this way. Rotate it out, then around and in. Then rotate this section back around, but before putting it all the way down, I'm going to flip out the foot. So that flips out, then can flip out the rest of the way, and then this tank piece can swing down and kind of, does it peg in? No, it doesn't peg in, it just kind of sits against the side of the leg. It's fine. It'd be cool if it actually pegged in, but whatever. But there is one leg. Other leg, same deal. Want to rotate this around and in. Rotate this around, flip out the foot, and then finish rotating it, and then have that sit against the leg. And then you want to take the hips and actually shift them forward. You can see there's this slider here, so you want to shift those forward to change the center of gravity and kind of line them up with the rest of the body properly. And there is most of the body done. Now for the last bit of it, you can take the tail section and yank it out. And it should kind of sit like that. And then, also you want to take this chest piece, flip that around, and whoops, flip this around. And this will make the chest. And then with, if you want to, you can fold the tail section forward and have like a Scourge drone, I guess. I think it's cool that the mold can do this, but it is a bit silly. But anyway, what we're going to do is fold this back around. So you want to rotate this, then rotate this up, and this will peg, not peg, it kind of sits in like over, well, it does peg. Okay, so there's this little gray section right here that goes over this tab right here, right behind the smokestack, right here. And that will kind of, like, it does friction in place, so it keeps it from moving. And then fold in the wing. It's not, as you can see, it's not like the most secure thing, but it pegs in. So again, rotate this back around, swing this up, peg this into that spot on the shoulder, and fold the wing in. And then you can just have them like that if you want. But to properly take care of the tail section, you want to bring this up and actually split the tail itself in half. It does actually split. And with that split, this can now fold backwards over the wings and just kind of tuck along the back. And it doesn't, this does not peg into anything. It just kind of rests back here. I don't think I've pulled this out all the way. Let's double check. There we go. I didn't click it out. That was the problem. So pull it out till it clicks, then rotate it around and down, and then it'll actually, yeah, that sits a bit better against the back. And there is Scourge's body. Now for Scourge's head, it's a Titanmaster, so you just bring the arms straight down, break the knees, fold everything together, and there you go. There we've got the head, and the head just pegs in like usual and gives him the look. And if you want, you can push the little belly button to give him the side thingies on the head, but I don't like those, so I keep them down. But there we go. There is Black Convoy, aka Scourge, in robot mode, and this mold looks amazing in Scourge colors. It really does. Like I said, I thought Octane was cool, but like this looks spectacular. There's so much more gray here and so much more silver and teal. It is fantastic, and they got like the window design that homages that, the shoulder designs. It's just a lot of cool stuff going on with this figure. It wears these colors extremely well. It's enough to make me wonder if this was actually an intentional thing. Like maybe they purposely designed it so that the mold would be able to pull off a Scourge. I don't know. I just feel like the way these shoulders work, like these little shoulder pylons, that kind of feels like that may have been the goal. But this is neat. This is very neat. I love all the color breakup, and some of the details even still evoke Scourge that you may not even think, like the thighs. It's not a one-to-one, but like having that turquoisey metallic-y coloring there, it actually reminds me of the thigh design of Scourge. It's kind of cool. And yeah, this is a shockingly neat mold in these colors. It's just funny how I was like, Octane's fine. I don't mind him. He's pretty good, but like these colors, it's just something else. Wasn't a fan of the Optimus Prime version of that, but like this, yes, absolutely. Now, the head is, Optimus Prime's head in Nemesis Prime / Scourge colors. It's not really I don't know that it's like, I'm honestly not sure if this is the Titans Return Prime head or if they did a new face for it. It kind of, to me, reads like it's the Optimus Prime head in just Scourge colors, like the teal along the sides. But I think it looks cool. I like, too, that they use this dark metallic gunmetal color for the faceplate. So it's almost blending in with the black, but not quite. I just think that's a cool touch. And the much darker, like, I guess this is actually a little pinkish red. So it's like a really dark pink that they used for the eyes, which I think is really cool because it still gets across the whole, like, Grr Nemesis thing. But at the same time, it's pink, which works with the rest of the pink that they used in the rest of the figure. That's really nice. And like the molding is nice. It looks good. For what it is, it looks really good. For the articulation, as you probably saw, the head is a typical Titans Return head. So you get a ball joint, which tilts a little bit and goes up and down a little bit, but it's mostly rotation. You also get this little plank down here that rotates separately because that's where the little pop-up things are connected to, so you can like rotate that without having to worry about the head getting off center. But like this is just like, I feel like this would work better as a Scourge to give him that wider head if like these were teal. I don't know. It's fine. It just kind of, the head is kind of like too big with those up and a little bit too small for like the Scourge, like too thin, I should say, too narrow, not too big, but like too narrow for the classic Scourge look. But you get shoulders that could theoretically go 360, but these pieces kind of get in the way, so you have to rotate them out of the way. And then other stuff's kind of knocking into things, so if you rotate it that way, it can go around more. The wings also are getting in the way, so there's a lot of stuff that, let's see if we get the wings out of the way. So if the wings are not in the way and the shoulder pads are not in the way, the arms can do a full 360. Very, very circumstantial, but it can be done. They can go out to very slightly past 90. You get a bicep rotation. You get almost 90 degrees of elbow bend. Not quite, but almost. No wrist articulation. You can bend them in for transformation, but that's it, and I kind of don't see the point in that. You do not get any waist rotation, which is kind of a shame, but how, given how all this comes together, I kind of understand why not. The hips can go forward to 90, can go back that far before they bang into the armature for the wings, which is fine. And go out past 90. I kind of feel like if the arms aren't in the way, yeah, so go out well past 90. You get thigh rotation. You also get a 90-degree bend at the knee. It's a little bit on the bulky side, with the thighs and stuff appearing a little small and the shins appearing a little big, but I feel like there's just enough hip and thigh up here that it doesn't look too ridiculous. And then for the feet, you can do that. That's it. You do not get any ankle tilts. You don't really get any forward or backward motion. It's fine. It's a Titan's Return figure. They didn't really do the ankle tilts back then. And I think that is okay. And for the weapons, it's the same weapons that we had before, with the double-barreled gun and the sword. So we'll just give them the gun and give them the sword, and there you go. You can't really store them on the back that I'm aware of, but he looks cool holding them, so that's fine. We'll just do that. For blast effect compatibility, the gun is not blast effect compatible because the little holes there are way too small for this, and there's no peg for this to peg onto. You can do that or that. And that's a shame, but Titan's Return was before Siege, so they didn't know in advance when they were designing this figure to to add the blast effect compatibility. At least I assume they didn't. Anyway, whoops, bumped that pretty hard, sorry. As far as sizes go, he is a Titan's Return Voyager, which, as we established when looking at Megatron, is surprisingly tall. So here he is with Dinobot and Nova Prime and Samus, and he is a little bit taller at the head than Dinobot. And Dinobot, as a reminder, is a tall Voyager. Get all of you out of the way. Bring in Burnouts. There he is with a Current Deluxe. Again, the older Voyager, definitely taller than that. We'll bring in to Scourge, Legacy Scourge, and she is at the head a little bit taller. Definitely taller when it comes to the shoulders. But I do think the deco goes a little bit harder on this one. I still don't mind the deco on this. I do think a little bit more going on in maybe the shoulder pads, maybe the forearms or the thighs would be nice, but eventually I'll maybe get the repro label set. I don't know. But there we go. And because I mentioned it, here we have Titan's Return Megatron. And, actually, okay. Seeing them side by side, I haven't actually done this. I guess Megatron, Titan's Return Megatron, is actually tall for a back then Voyager, which is why Scourge here is maybe not towering over all these other figures as much as I initially expected. And at long last, to wrap all of this up, here he is with the duck tank. And that is a wrap for Takara LG-EX Black Convoy, their redeco of Titan's Return, Octane, Octane / Optimus Prime as very obviously Scourge. And again, this is a fantastic deco. I like this figure quite a bit. Like, it's just weird to me how the regular figure I was kind of ho-hum on, but put it in these colors and it's just like, yes, I adore this. It is great. So yeah, it's just wild to me how a paint scheme can make a mold that I'm kind of like, I don't know, on into something that I'm like, gimme. It's just a beautiful looking figure, and it's fun to mess with. I like having the two modes. Even if the plane isn't super successful, I still really like it. And very glad to have it as one of my 34 currently Nemesis Primes. It is, that part of the collection is definitely taken on a bit of a life of its own. But anyway, that is enough about what I think. What do you all think of this figure or this mold? Because it has come out in a few different colors. More than a few, because they also did like the Laser Prime in whatever that box set was. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and we still have more. There are still more Nemesis Primes. We are going until the end of the month. I may have to do like 3 videos a week for more than 1 week in order to get through all of the Nemesis Primes this year. We'll see what happens.